it's a question about a real artist nowadays. His focus is really passion, love, and the expression of things which are very important for him. And it's very unfiltered, very honest, and if orchestra is playing a piece from the country the composer is from, they understand the passion, they understand the meaning of it. And that's what we want to capture. So Pēteris Vasks is really one of my favorite composers. I figured out that so many artists are pretending, they are trying to be something. And I found in Pēteris someone who's representing some uniqueness and authenticity, which you cannot find somewhere else. He represents a real artist to me.
I would also say that especially when you listen to Pēteris Vasks' music, there is a certain substance of emotionality that you won't get from any other composer.
Pēteris' music have his very special place, not in Latvian music only, but in the world music of contemporary art. He found and created something very special in his unique style, which is in the deep roots in Latvian nature.
So the essence of the concept of the Pēteris Vasks library is the Voices Symphony that he composed, because it's a very interesting composition from various perspectives.
We have a historical surface, we have a musical surface, we have an aesthetic surface, and they all somehow fit together so beautifully.
Skaņdarbs un laiks, kurā es tos atcerēju, tas bija tāds mūsu Baltijas, visām trīs Baltijas tautām tāds būt vai nebūt laiks. Dzīvošana zem šīs okupācijas varas jau bija tik tālu mūs novedusi, kad tas bija tuvu, kad mēs vienkārši jau pazustu kā nācija vai tāda. Nu jā, un tātad šajā laikā, kad viss ir tā kā atmodās, atliecis muguru, bet tajā kompozīcijā es stāstu nevis par to, kā mēs visi tagad vienoti cīnīsimies un tādu. Nē, es vienkārši varbūt par to, kas ir mūsu spēka avoti.
It's very hard to define a new voice with very tonal music, but he made this. It has a very emotional kind of character. Also the sound of how the strings are playing with a lot of consordino, with harmonics. They have this interesting glissandi, and this is the next part, articulation-wise.
His musical language is actually very rich, and there are a lot of sound and technical principles. Actually, he invented these tiny glissandos, like these glissandos upward, like something is going to the sky, to the heaven, maybe, who knows. His use of bird songs, one can hear it in Latvian landscape, somewhere in countryside, in the early morning and late evening sometimes. he was string player by himself, and he feels the string orchestra very good. I think his feeling and his emotion and his ability to create this very deep, very emotional, sometimes very dark string sound, it's amazing.
We listened to a lot of recordings from Voices Symphony, and there was one particular recording coming from the Sinfonietta Riga, and we just wanted to find out, okay, where was it recorded, because the recording was just, it had some soul that is very specific, and I really like this performance in this recording.
Yeah. And you told me, find out where this recording was made, and we were like finding exactly the same spot with the same orchestra.
They're really the best string players you can find here in town, because they are used to play contemporary music, and they know about certain playing styles, certain playing techniques that are unique and not so often in romantic music, for example.
I think the most important thing is the connections people have, how they relate to a piece of music. And Sinfonietta Riga, they played a lot of Vasks music. They know him in person. They admire his not just musical achievements, but his fight for freedom and his political agenda. And I think at the end of the day, it's all about the people who play.
Yeah, also the strings come with a very special set of articulations. Things like little gestures, especially for the Voices Symphony, you can really hear the voice of the people. Which gives hope, how people communicate and how people connect, and sometimes they talk in between and you won't hear anything. It's like a swarm of people talking. That's what you hear in Pēteris Vasks Voices Symphony, and that's what we wanted to recreate with the sample library, to have little gestures, little thing that makes you let the player and the musicians, the strings, communicate under each other. When we had our recording sessions here for the sample library, we also played the first movement of Voices, of his Voices Symphony, and he was actually there. And it was interesting because he listened to it 2-3 times, and the tears were rolling over his face.
Well, it's about intensity. He takes it serious, and you can hear it, and that's why the emotion you get from his music are serious, are very, very intense, and this intensity you can feel. And our dream is really that somehow this intensity will reach people when they use this product at the end of the day. What they do with it, we cannot promise, we cannot give any directions, but as a basic start, intensity is a promising thing, I think.
And it's not a set of Lego bricks where you can rebuild the Voices Symphony. That's not what we had in mind. What we had in mind is really to get some inspiration from the Voices Symphony, but it should be a new color in your palette of notes, in your palette of musicality that you can use.
And I think nowadays you don't just capture material, you capture far more. You capture the passion behind it. You capture people you won't see in an audio file. For instance, when the composer's in the same room, in the church, definitely you cannot capture it, but you can actually, in the way the musicians play, even if it's standard articulation, there's a difference. I mean, it makes all the difference.
I think this library is perfect to use in any kind of drama situation, in any kind of emotive string arrangement where it needs a certain personality, where you don't have the big string orchestra in front of you, where you just have the more subtle kind of sounds, but still with a degree of emotionality that is superior and characterful, and this makes this library special.
Pēteris is speaking about the things everybody should think about our time, about some craziness we are going through, especially in the last month. In the contrast of this, the inner world of man who, with good ideas and positive point of view, can change the world. And I really believe that music somehow can help us to change the world to the best, to the better one.
Šausmīgā tempā skrejot, ļoti daudz lietas neievēro, kā saka. Es vienmēr esmu uzstāju, mana muzika arī lēna un ļoti lēna un klusa, tāpēc, ka steidzoties visam paskrien garām, un viss ir virspusīgs, manuprāt, jā, tā kā vismaz muzikā es saku, jā, bremzējiet tempus, nesteidzamies. Paskrieni, daudz kam paskriesim garām, manuprāt.